Welcome back. The Niagara Falls Fire Department is currently in transition, one would say, as outgoing Chief Jim Boutilier prepares to step into retirement. New Chief Jo Zambito prepares to assume that role in June. Jim, at this stage, is there a bit of a job shadowing thing going on between the two of you right now? Is Joe looking over your shoulder, trying to learn as much as he can until he takes over in June?
To some point. I mean, we meet weekly to go over certain items. That's the chief's responsibility. But from the day Joe got here in 2016, we've been trying to keep him up to date and mentor him to be able to take over once I decided to leave. And it's being a really smooth transition, to be honest, because he is at the stage of it's time for me to go and it's time for Joe to step up and take it.
What are your thoughts leaving this job after 31 years?
It hasn't really hit, I don't think, because we're so busy with COVID and the vaccine. I'm rather busy, but I do know in the back of my mind that the department is going to be in great hands with Deputy Chief Zambito taking over as chief and whoever he replaces him as his successor as the deputy. So I'm quite excited to see it come to fruition.
Joe, that's some pressure he's putting on you there. He's quite excited about you taking over. How do you feel stepping into his role?
I'm actually very excited. But as the chief alluded to, we've been very, very busy doing many things, opening up the new fire station. We have 2 recruit classes going on right now. I'm not sure it's actually quite sunk in either, but I'm very excited. I've been hanging on to the chief's coattails, like he said, since the first day I've been here, and trying to absorb as much as I possibly can. But I'm very fortunate and I'm extremely excited. I can't wait.
I read a story about you today in your early years in Niagara-on-the-Lake working for the town, and this story said that you stepped up and helped the fire chief at that time fill up the truck with gas because you didn't want him to get his uniform dirty. That was the start of your interest and career in firefighting, which is that's phenomenal that it takes you from there to where you are stepping in June.
I didn't have that childhood ambition to be a firefighter when I was young. I was working part-time in the roads department, cutting grass along the ditch. And the chief of the day was decked out in his Class A uniform going somewhere very formal. And I was filling up my tractor with fuel. And so I said, why don't you let me do that? I don't want you to get all dirty wherever where you're going. And he right then asked me if I wanted to be a volunteer firefighter. And that's how it started.
That's a great story. Jim, when you look at the opening of the new station on Lundy's Lane, that's sort of a crowning achievement, sort of your legacy as you step out, would you say?
I had several goals, and Station 7 opening was certainly the top of my priority. The other big priority for me was to get the memorial open in front of Station 1 here so that we can recognize those that have fallen before us. So I've achieved my goals as being the chief, and as I say, it's time for me to step aside and bring in new, fresh ideas and fresh blood and take this department to the next level.
And Joe, when you think of the next few years, maybe a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, what do you see as your goals?
Our department is definitely in a transition mode. We've been doing significant hiring in the last few years for Station 7. With hiring comes a whole new demographics, and the pendulum has swung. Definitely, when you look across the entire department with regards to the average age of our firefighters. So that's going to be a learning curve for the next, for sure, 5 years. Station 7 is a complete new element, and it's going to change the way that we respond to our community, because we know what's coming down in the future with the hospital, and we know what happened when they built a hospital in St. Catharines, all the other development that surrounded it, and that side of the city is definitely going to change. We've been very used to responding to the falls in that direction of the city. We're in the high 60s, 70% of our call volume does go in that general area. But that's going to change direction with the new building of the hospital. And it's definitely going to change the way we respond throughout our community.